Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you guys for joining me again. My name is Wilkie and I'm here with another Shadow Arena video. This is gonna be a guide where I'm gonna be giving you guys 5 tips that pros don't want you to know, or as an alternative title, 5 things you may have not yet encountered or learned from the game. So the first thing that I want to give you guys is something that I'd like to call buff stacking. Generally speaking, as a rule of thumb in Shadow Arena, whenever you pick up a buff, and then you pick up a better one, for example, you have a 50 AP buff and you pick up a 75 AP buff, they will not stack. There are exceptions to the rule, and the biggest exception to this rule is Goddess Blessing and the Ancient Relic Tower buff. Both of those give you a whopping 150 AP and DP, and what's even crazier, they can actually stack. Now, Goddess Blessing can be obtained from the altars. I think this is very well known and lasts for 5 minutes. And the other one is the Ancient Relic Tower, which only lasts for 60 seconds, but like I said, they can stack. And you can see this on the footage here. This makes for some very crazy and abnormal damage you can deal. Likewise, it makes you very resilient. This is, I think, a lot of people only see the AP numbers. Well, in theory, if you're the one engaging, obviously the more you hit for, the better it is. But also in the clip where Volts actually starts to combo me first, you can see that I'm pretty well protected. Even though he launches a flurry of blows on me, it doesn't really phase me that much. So this is something to keep in mind. If you get the chance to get both of these buffs going, I highly recommend trying to do so, especially if there are enemies in the vicinity. Having 300 additional AP and DP makes you crazily powerful with the right moment. Obviously, it's only 60 seconds, but those can mean the difference between life and death. Like I said, very, very good thing, and also something a lot of people don't know. If you get the chance and you have Goddess Blessing buff up and there's an Ancient Relic Tower nearby, I highly suggest trying to go for it. So the next tip on the list is about one of the mountain crabs, or more importantly about the step stoneback crab, which is the PvE Damage crab. Now, first of all, due to one of the latest patches, you can now see the crabs on the minimap, so a lot more people are probably going for them because they are now aware that they exist and they actually know where to go. However, a little lesser known fact is that the crab damage, which actually only adds PvE damage, also applies against specters, and what's even crazier, it also applies towards bots. So I'm not sure if this is a bug. It may be an oversight or maybe intentional, I'm not sure. However, having the PvE damage buff will pretty much guarantee you to delete bosses straight up with 1 or 2 moves. Like, I have a few examples here where bots just instantly vaporize once you hit them. Sure, bots generally aren't that tanky, but you can definitely feel the difference. And like I said, I don't know if this is intentional, but it definitely is a factor. So if you're close by in the spawn region of the Step Stoneback Crab, which is roundabout on the map, you can see pretty much where the icon is. But I guess for starters, it's just in the western part of the map. Feel free to get it, especially since it helps you farming bots earlier or mid-game and not only farming mobs or bosses. So definitely one of the lesser known facts, but can be very potent. So tip 3 and also sort of tip 4 kind of go in the same direction. It's also including bots, however, it's more about player interaction, or rather distinguishing what a player is and what a bot is. There are a few telltale signs. Usually bots do very strange combos, their movement looks a bit different. Most players won't just randomly use all their skills and mobs, so this is usually a sign how you can tell them. However, there are a few other things that also will be different for bots than for players. Biggest thing here in tip number 3 is Alzai, likewise the buff you can get from the Elixir of Vigilance, or if you kill another player / specter / bot, does not show bots on the minimap. So while you see other enemy players as this greenish square icon on the minimap, bots do not appear on the map. So if you see someone running around and you're not sure if it's a bot or a player, but you have the buff going and you're close by and it doesn't appear on the map, you definitely know that it's not a player. So this is also vital, or I guess kind of good to know, in a late game scenario, maybe you're in a pinch and you don't know if this is a player or not, and maybe you have the buff on or you have an Elixir of Vigilance, and you pop it and nothing changes on the map, you know this is definitely a bot. Fourth tip, as I said, that kind of goes into the same direction. Bots never have a colored name. Players' names change depending on the gear. I guess this alone is something that some people may not know. So depending on the gear grade, or rather the average gear grade you have, the name or the color of your name changes. Obviously, everybody starts off with a white name, and then it goes through the colors of green, blue, yellow, and finally red. However, bots always have a white name. So these are two telltale signs to absolutely know whether or not the enemy you're fighting is a bot. Like I said, the name thing at the early game phases can be misleading because everybody starts out with a white name. However, in late game, if you meet somebody who has a white name, it's definitely a bot. So, as for the last tip, the first part of it is, I guess, sort of self-explanatory, but I guess some newer players may not be aware of this. You only have a set amount of hotkeys, or I guess item slots, at the bottom of your screen. I'm currently using the default bind, so these may vary if you have changed them. However, more items or additional items, especially consumables, will be thrown into your actual inventory. So it's not like you don't just get them, but you do have them in your inventory, but using them can be a little bit of a hit or miss. So what you currently saw here, I swapped out my matchlock for my sandwich because a matchlock is very, very important and useful to have at your disposal inside a combo or in a pinch, whereas the sandwich usually requires a more relaxed environment and is not as a frantic item. However, managing this can be a little bit of a pain. Generally though, what I recommend is having matchlocks and stun traps if you have them on your active slots. And this leads me to the second part of the tip I want to give you guys here. You can use these items straight out of your inventory, and mad props for some of my viewers who told me that, because I didn't know that either. You can actually just right click on an item in your inventory and it'll use it automatically. You can see that here, right, with my Elixir of Vigilance. I did not go into my inventory, drag it out into an action slot and use it there, but I just clicked on it during my inventory open and it worked just fine. The same applies to buffs, the same applies to potions or sandwiches. Generally though, like I said, this is very useful for items that you don't really use in a hectic situation, such as a sandwich or an Elixir of Vigilance. So I recommend have your matchlocks and your stun traps set in the action slots you have. Keep the other items in your inventory and just remember that you have them so you don't actually forget to use them. So this sums it up for my tips guides. Hopefully this was helpful for some of you guys. As usual, anything else you want to know, anything unclear, drop me a message in the comments on YouTube, on Twitter, or on my Discord. You can also catch me live streaming on Twitch. I stream every Monday around 700 CEST in the evening, and another day which I will always announce on Twitter and Discord. So have a good one, everybody, and I will hopefully see you guys either in game, next stream, or the next video. So have a good one, and see ya.